Hello, everyone. This is Seven Bell Whisper. I hope you all are doing well today. Since Valentine's Day is 10 days away, I thought that I would do a video talking about some of my favorite go-to romantic movies that I watched during the month of February. You would think after what's been going on with me that I would still love romance movies, but I still believe in love, And I know now because I used to watch movies like the ones I'm going to mention, and I would romanticize love. And that's not the way it goes. Love comes softly. Have you guys ever seen that movie? That's a good movie. That's the first Katherine Heigl movie I ever watched. It's religious, but it's so beautiful. And it's true. Love comes softly. And it's not something that you need to work so hard for. It just happens. So, I don't know. Just something to think about this holiday season. If you're alone or if you're lonely and you're wishing you had somebody to spend it with. See, Valentine's Day has always been one of my least favorite holidays because it makes people that are alone feel so depressed and lonely. And, I've never really liked Valentine's Day, but I love reading books about romance, and I love watching movies about romance. And so, tonight we're going to talk about some of my favorite romantic movies, and maybe I'll mention some that you haven't seen yet and that you need to get on the ball. You have 10 days. And maybe it'll be a movie you can watch with your significant other or your mother or your sister or your niece or your best friend. Because on Friday, this coming up Friday, I am hanging out with my best friend Danielle. Hi, sweetheart. And hi to Caleb and Hayden. They love it when I mention them in my videos. They think they're famous. I am hanging out with her on Friday, and we're going to get some Chinese takeout, and we're going to watch one of the movies that I put on my list. So let's talk about the list now. I was just going to use this for some sounds. Okay. So the first one I'm going to mention is Sweet Home Alabama. Sweet Home Alabama is my favorite movie of all time. Not because of what it is, really. It's just one of my favorite memories with my mother. We found some money in my dad's coat pocket one day when I was 11 years old. We found $10, and this is like one of my core memories. And I told you guys around that time he was alcoholic. So we didn't know what to do until I was like, we are going to take that money and we're going to go see Sweet Home Alabama, because by that time he was passed out. Anyways, so we went to go see Sweet Home Alabama, and we loved it. It has Reese Witherspoon and Josh Lucas and Patrick Dempsey. Now, I thought I was going to go into it because I hadn't heard much about Josh Lucas as an actor, but I had watched Patrick Dempsey and movies like Can't Buy Me Love and that one where he's a pizza delivery guy, Lover Boy, I think it's called. And I already had a huge crush on him. And back in 2002, like, I know he's like a silver fox now, but back in 2002, he was a hunk. He's still a hunk. But I thought I was going to go into the movie rooting for him. But Josh Lucas, he stole my heart. God, I can still see that part where he walks down those stairs where she comes into his okay, just in case you haven't seen it, it's about this clothes designer in New York City. I love movies that are centered around New York City. That's on my bucket list, is to go to New York one day. But she is a clothes designer with a rocky past, and her new boyfriend, who is Patrick Dempsey, his name's Andrew, proposes to her. Well, what she doesn't tell him is she's still married. She is in the process of trying to get. If you hear my animals scratching at my door, I'm so sorry. I hope it doesn't bother you guys. I'll try to talk over it. But she is still married to her husband, who's Josh Lucas. His name, oh my gosh, what is his name? Oh my gosh. Okay, it's Andrew, Mel, Jake. Sorry, Jake. His name is Jake. And so she goes to Alabama where she grew up and where Jake is, and tries to get a divorce from him because she's engaged to another guy. You know, movies like that wouldn't fly these days. Like, it's like you have a boyfriend and you're still married. But she's been trying to get a divorce from him for 7 years. So I don't really blame her, to be honest. But when she goes back, you know, things happen. She realizes that she left herself, a part of herself, in Alabama. And she starts falling in love with Alabama. And then she starts falling in love with her husband. And it's just such a good movie. But it has you wondering who will she pick to the very last second. And it's so good. It's funny. It's heartwarming. It's about friendship. It's about love. Oh, and I love Reese Witherspoon. She's my favorite actress of all time. All time. So, that's my favorite movie of all time. The second one is actually the movie me and Danielle are going to watch on Friday, and that is Sleepless in Seattle. See, I told you guys, I love movies that center around New York. Sleepless in Seattle, if you've never seen it, is a movie with Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. I think they were in like 4 movies together in the 80s and 90s. They're kind of like Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore. I love their movies together. I think they have such amazing chemistry. But it's my favorite one of theirs together. And actually, the song that came from that movie is actually my parents' song. The song "If I Fall in Love" by Celine Dion. If you've never heard, I definitely recommend it. But Sleepless in Seattle is about. It starts off this little boy and his daddy, who is the Tom Hanks. His name is Sam, and the little boy's name is Jonah. He calls into this late night radio talk show, kind of like Delilah, and says that he needs a new wife for his dad. And then Meg Ryan's character, I forgot where she's from, but she lives halfway across the world for him. But she hears him on the radio talking about his late wife. Oh my gosh, the part where he's like, I knew she was the love of my life, and the first time I knew it the first time I touched her. I was just helping her out of the car. I was touching her hand to help her out of the car, and it felt like magic. And so Meg Ryan's character has like this slight obsession with him after this. And then Jonah actually writes the letter to, God, what is her? Her name's Annie. He writes the letter that they should meet in New York City on Valentine's Day at the top of the Empire State Building. And it's just so good. It's so good. Oh, and Bill Pullman is also in the movie as well, as her. Meg Ryan's character is actually engaged to somebody else in the movie. I forget his name. Yeah, he's not important enough to remember. But it's just so good. It's so good. If you've never seen it, I definitely recommend it. Okay, so the third movie, and actually, this movie was before Sleepless in Seattle, but they actually, her and Rosie O'Donnell, Meg Ryan and Rosie O'Donnell is actually in Sleepless in Seattle, and they're sitting on the couch and they're watching this movie. It's called An Affair to Remember. You guys, this movie, I remember watching it with my mama a long time ago. It's the Deborah Carr, I think it's Deborah Carr and the Cary Grant version, because there's two versions. I don't know why they did a remake, but pretty much it's been a long time since I've seen it. I think they fall in love on a cruise, and they tell each other that they will meet at the top of the Empire State Building on Valentine's Day, but something happens. And I don't want to give anything away, but he becomes very angry and bitter because he thinks she didn't meet me, she didn't love me. And so he becomes very angry and bitter. And I think he's also an artist. That's something very important to remember, that he's an artist. And the ending, oh, it gives me goosebumps just thinking about it right now. Oh my gosh, it makes me want to cry. Cary Grant, I see you. I see you. It's so good. It's so good. Why am I thinking it's Deborah Carr? I thought that was. I can't remember who the woman is at the top of my head. But it's so good. It's one of my favorite, like, older movies. Okay, the next movie is a rom-com, and that is The Proposal. Sandra Bullock is one of my top 5 favorite actresses of all time, and I love Ryan Reynolds too. The movie, she's this big hotshot boss, bitchy, very uptight, and her green card is going out, and they're trying to send her back to Canada. But she tells, the big bosses that she is engaged to her assistant, Andrew, who is Ryan Reynolds. And he takes her to his home. And so they had this big fabricated story about how they fell in love and they're engaged. And he takes her to meet his family in Alaska. And Betty White, oh my gosh, she almost stole that whole movie. She is so cute in that movie. And then also you have Craig Nelson, you have Mary Steenburgen in there as well. And, it's so funny. And the chemistry between Sandra Bullock and Ryan Reynolds, I think he actually fell in love with her in real life. Because I remember they were hanging out. They were hanging out a lot after that movie. But she was going through a divorce from Jesse James, and he was a lot younger than her, and it just didn't work out. But now he's married to Blake Lively, and I love her. And he has three, no, is it three or four? Gorgeous, gorgeous children. So everything, I think they're still good friends, though. But you can just tell during the movie, the chemistry is amazing. So definitely recommend that one. It's a great rom-com, just a real good movie to laugh. Okay, if you want to cry, my favorite Nicholas Sparks movie is A Walk to Remember. I love Mandy Moore. I've always loved her ever since I've seen her in The Princess Diaries. I thought, I've just always loved her. I tried to watch This Is Us because I love her, but it just made me so depressed after You Know Who dies. It just depressed me so much. But A Walk to Remember, if you've never seen it, I don't even know why I have to say that. A bad boy, they're in high school, and it's a bad boy. He's a bad boy, you know. He gets in trouble, and he's put in like this little group thing where it's an acting group, I think, like a drama club, and he has to be part of this play. And then Jamie, who is Mandy Moore's character, oh, his name is what's his name? Mr. Carter, Landon. And Jamie is the daughter of the pastor that preaches at the church in their town, and, you know, very just good person. And so he asks her to help him with his lines for the play, and she tells him, yes, I'll help you, but you have to promise you won't fall in love with me. And we all know what happens, but then there's a sad part to the story. And just in case you haven't seen it, I don't want to give anything away, but it's my favorite Nicholas Sparks movie. The Notebook came and hold a candle to that movie. Another one that to watch to make you cry is The Fault in Our Stars. I still love that movie, even though it was a movie I saw on my honeymoon. I still love it. It's got Shailene Woodley and Ansel Elgort. I read the book 4 times. It's one of my favorite books. And I love the movie too. And it's just about 2 people that have cancer, and they're a part of a support group. And, you know, Shailene Woodley's character was her name, Hazel Grace. I always said if I ever have a little girl that I'll name her Hazel Grace because I love that name. And then his name is Augustus Waters, and you can tell he has a crush on her, but she knows she has cancer, and she's like, what's the point in falling in love with somebody and then having to hurt them? So, like, through the movie, you know, you can see he's obviously fallen for her, but things happen, and I cried my fucking eyes out at the end of that movie. Oh my gosh. I don't want to ruin it for anybody that hasn't seen it yet, but it's so good. It's so good. The chemistry between Shailene and Ansel, like, I thought for years that they had to be a couple. I was like, they just have to be a couple. It was so good. It was so good. When it comes to book to movie adaptations, yes. Okay, another one to watch that is actually family friendly, you can watch it with your whole family, is It Takes Two. This is like one of my comfort movies. I've always loved Kirstie Alley, And actually, I might watch that tonight. Uh, I love Kirstie Alley movies. R.I.P. Oh my goodness. Um, It Takes Two. It's been so long since I watched it. It's a Mary Cat and Ashley Olsen movie, and it's almost like The Parent Trap. They switch places so that Kirstie Alley, she's like uh, a worker at like this adoption center, and the dad of the other little girl is like this big, like uh, rich guy, but kind and gentle, and they meet. It's a camp. I'm sorry, it's a camp because his wife actually made the camp for the foster kids. And they try to get them together, and it's just really cute, and it's family friendly, and I just love it. It's one of my comfort movies. But something I never realized until recently is the woman that plays, is it Charisse? Is that her name? And It Takes Two. The same actress that plays the fiance of the husband in the movie, the gold digger. Um, she also played um, Ross's ex-wife, who turned lesbian in Friends. And I don't know why I can't think of her name right now. But yeah, I thought that was a cool little trivia type of thing to mention. Another also included another Kirstie Alley movie on here. Actually, it's a trilogy because I recommend all three movies. And that is Look Who's Talking. I love those movies so much. It's got John Travolta and Kirstie Alley. Same thing, the chemistry is off the charts. In the first movie, she gets pregnant by a married guy. And then on the way to the hospital, the cab driver is John Travolta. And, it's so funny. Oh, I laugh my ass off every time. And then the son, her baby, is named Mikey, and Bruce Willis actually voices Mikey. It's one of the only movies I can watch where, it's like voicing a baby, like a baby has a voice, because it's just one of those comfort movies that I can watch over and over and over. And then the second movie well, I can't tell you, just in case you haven't seen it. I don't want to ruin it. So let's just say that she meets John Travolta, who's a cab driver, and I'll just leave it at that. Okay. Next movie is Ever After. It is my favorite Cinderella adaptation. If you're into like different adaptations of Cinderella movies, it's my favorite Cinderella adaptation. It's Cinderella pretty much. It's got Drew Barrymore, who's one of my favorite actresses of all time. And I remember watching that movie with my niece, Lena, for the first time, and she saw how cute that guy was in that movie. Henry. Oh, like when he falls off that horse in the movie and you get that first glimpse of him, my niece was like, oh, yummy. I think she said something along the lines of, oh, yum, because he is just so handsome. And it's just so good. It's so good. I don't really have to give a synopsis. It's Cinderella pretty much. And I love Angelica Houston as the evil stepmother. I think she does so good in that role. it's Cinderella, but it's beautiful. It's just so beautiful. Jerry Maguire, another great movie. It's got Renee Zellweger and Tom Cruise and Cuba Gooding Jr. And I'm not a big fan of Tom Cruise, but I love this movie. He just got fired from one of his big jobs. He's like, okay, is anybody coming with me? Renee Zellweger is his assistant, but she also is madly in love with him. But he can't love anybody because all he loves is himself. And he loves power and he loves money. But by the end of the movie, oh, sorry. I meant to grab my heart and I accidentally knocked the selfie stick. I'm sorry. The end of that movie. It's just a really good one. It's funny. It's rated R though, so I don't recommend watching it around children. But it's really good. Another comfort movie of mine that I used to watch as a teenager is 10 Things I Hate About You. Heath Ledger as Patrick Verona. It's actually, if you guys have ever heard of The Taming of the Shrew, with Elizabeth Taylor and her husband that she married like 3 times. Richard Burton? Was it Richard Burton? I think so. But, pretty much this guy wants to date. It's got Julia Stiles and Heath Ledger, and I don't know who plays Bianca, but this guy wants to date Bianca, so he hires Patrick to take out Kat. Kat is Julia Stiles' name in the movie, and she's just, I love her. She's just a badass, and she's never really been in a serious relationship, but you find out why, why she's never really trusted a man, a boy, to give her heart to, and it's just so good. It's funny. It's got a really young Joseph Gordon-Levitt in that movie. Oh, so cute, and I just love it. I can watch it over and over. When Harry Met Sally, another great Meg Ryan film. This one has Meg Ryan and Billy Crystal, and pretty much it starts off, she's giving this guy a ride to, I think it's New York again, and they stay friends for like 12 years, and they just go through everything together, and it's just heartwarming and funny and romantic and just everything. I would, by the end of this video, I would like to know what you guys' favorite romantic movies are. Okay, the last one, but definitely not the least. This is my top 5 favorite comfort movie, one of my favorite romance movies of all time, and that is Overboard. Not talking about the shitty Anna Faris Overboard. I'm talking about the original Goldie Hawn, Kurt Russell Overboard. Oh my gosh. Okay, so pretty much he's a carpenter, and he goes on her yacht or ship or whatever. I think it's a yacht. It's considered a yacht. And she is just this bitchy, just, I gotta have this now, and uptight, and just, she don't care how she treats people. And he's there to build her a closet for her shoes. And, so things happen, and that night she falls off the yacht and loses her memory, and I'm not going to tell you anything else. Let's just say, oh, And Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn are still together to this day. Like, that is the dream right there. Like, they were in that movie and their chemistry. Oh, and the love scene. Oh my gosh. So sweet. And it's so, I know, I love rom-coms. It's really funny. Really funny. And I read in a magazine one time that Reese Witherspoon's favorite comfort movie is Overboard. And I don't blame her. I mean, it's just one of those movies that's just, it's nostalgic, but at the same time, it's just one of those movies you can put on and know absolutely every word. And I cry every time close to the ending. I cry every time with the kids, with the sons, where they bang on the limo window. If anybody that's seen it, I'm not giving anything away, where they bang on the window and they're like, Mom, don't go. Okay, anyways, okay. All right, but anyways, that is the end of my list of go-to Valentine's movies to watch this year. And maybe, maybe you haven't seen one of these movies, so I just want to share it with you guys. And this is going to be a longer video, so I know I got more into soft-spoken towards the end of this video. I hope you guys don't mind. But I love you guys. I hope you all have a very happy Valentine's Day. If you don't hear from me before then, you should, though. But, and also, happy 7-month, happy 7-month birthday to my Journey. He's 7 months today. And hello again to Danielle and Hayden and Caleb. I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon.